Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here, and welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down. Better dig deep, put 'em in the ground. Blood on their hands, they're hellbound. Save us all. Ooh, they're gonna burn it down. Save us all before they burn it down.
You know, for those that don't understand, America is a constitutional republic. And in Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, known as the Guarantee Clause, it says that the United States, which when you see the United States, that means the federal government, is supposed to provide to every state in the Union a Republican form of government. Not party, Republican form of government, because we are a constitutional republic. And in this constitutional republic, we have three branches of government. And you can go back and you can read Charles Montesquieu, The Spirit of the Laws, the French political philosopher, because that's what James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and John Jay read in the developing and the crafting of our Constitution. Article 1 applies to the legislative branch of our Constitution. Article 2 applies to the executive branch. Article 3, well, that applies to the judicial branch. But the question that we have to start asking ourselves right now, because, legislators are elected officials, a president's an elected official, and then he fills in his executive branch. But these judicial positions at the federal government level, Supreme Court, federal judges, these are unelected bureaucrats. I call them the Black Robe bureaucrats, not like the Black Robe Regiment of the American Revolution pastors who came out of their pulpits. But if you're supposed to, according to Article 3, interpret the law based upon the rule of law, based upon the Constitution of the United States of America, when you start to go down the path where you're no longer doing that, you're not holding yourself accountable to the rule of law and the interpretation thereof. What you're doing is you're just basically becoming a judicial activist. That's the problem that we have. And in the system of checks and balances, we're supposed to see these individuals and they can be removed, quote unquote, impeached. Funny enough, I once served in the United States Congress out of the South Florida delegation. He's deceased now. But Congressman Al C. Hastings was one of a handful of impeached federal judges. What did he do? He got kicked out of the judicial branch, so he goes and runs to be in the legislative branch. And he serves there. So for whatever reason, he was impeached because he was not following the law. So then you join the branch that's supposed to create the law. Okay, got it. But we have these checks and balances that are in there so that we don't have these judges that are really going rogue. Just doing things just because. And yes, I'm talking about this incredible recent spate of, I don't even know how you call it. It's beyond delusion. It's past derangement. It is just, frankly, criminal and unlawful. But yet we have people that believe that these judges are doing what's right and they should not be held accountable for it. Let's start off with the district judge, I believe out of D.C., James Boasberg, a district judge. Now, Congress created these district judicial positions. I guess Congress can get rid of them too. Or maybe Congress can get rid of the district judge that sits there as part of checks and balances. But this district judge, James Boasberg, all of a sudden decides, I don't like the fact that criminal illegal immigrants are being deported. I want the flights stopped. I want to see the manifest. I mean, okay, you're a district court judge. You have a jurisdiction in this district, in this geographical space. Maybe you can make that determination in that geographical space. But how is it that you can make a determination that affects domestic security and national security of the United States of America? How is it that you can seek to undermine the authority, the executive power that is vested in the President of the United States of America, who is also the Commander in Chief? I mean, we're talking about individuals that entered into this country illegally. And I have to continue to remind Representative Jasmine Crockett from right here in Dallas, Texas, that it is a crime to come across the border into the United States of America illegally. It's a felony offense. But then on top of that, these individuals are also committing other crimes. On top of that, they're members of organizations that have been declared and designated as a terrorist organization. So why does Judge Boasberg believe that you can't deport them out of the country? Now, here's the same judge that, let's just talk about the rule of law. He said nothing for 4 years while a certain president, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, allowed these individuals to come across the border illegally, allowed this creation of a CBP, Customs and Border Patrol application, app on a phone, granting them quote unquote parole. None of that is in the enumerated powers and duties of Article 2, the executive branch, the president. But where was James Boasberg when that was happening? No, all of a sudden now he has this unrighteous, selective indignation to say, I don't want planes flying criminal, illegal, immigrant, terrorist organization members out of the United States of America. Do you understand how absurd that is? Or we have 7 members of the United States Supreme Court in a hasty decision saying that people that are here, criminal, illegal immigrants who belong to terrorist organizations, have a right to due process. No, they have no constitutional rights. As a matter of fact, how can you say that someone that violated our sovereignty, violated our Constitution, our rule of law, should now be entitled to constitutional rights and due process? No, you're not a citizen of the United States of America. And maybe some people should tell some of these Democrat senators and members of Congress that as well. You're supposed to be legislating and being concerned about the United States of America. You're supposed to be concerned about the actual citizens and constituents and legal residents that live within your district or within your state, not the people that have come here illegally. If anything, you should be standing up and saying America is for Americans and the people that are our legal guests, not people that are here illegally. So what is it that these judges and these members of Congress, what is it that they don't get? Either you stand with the law and you stand with our national sovereignty, or you don't. Look at this district judge, again, out of Northern California, William Orrick, Orrick, Obama appointed judge. All of a sudden now he's coming out and saying that, well, the executive branch cannot restrict federal funds going to sanctuary cities. Okay, let's break this down. A sanctuary city. What does the left mean? What do these people mean by sanctuary city? What they mean is that if you are here in the United States of America illegally, we're going to let you stay here in our city. So let's break this down. If you come across the border and enter into the United States of America illegally, you have committed a crime, a felony offense. You don't believe me? Ask Tom Homan. Now we have jurisdictions, cities, municipalities saying that we're going to allow them to stay within our municipality, within our, or even our state, and they're here illegally. Isn't that harboring a criminal? I mean, if someone that I know has committed an illegal action, a crime, armed robbery, drug dealer, whatever, if I offer them sanctuary, you stay in my house, I'm an accomplice. I'm complicit. I'm aiding and abetting criminal activity. So how is it that this judge, William Orrick, who's supposed to be interpreting the law, all of a sudden says that we, American taxpayers, should be sending money to people that are harboring criminals? In actuality, they're breaking the law too. I mean, what world do we live in where we have these jurists that think this is sound doctrine, sound interpretation of the law? And oh, by the way, since everyone likes to throw the supremacy clause out there, Article 6, Section 1 of the United States Constitution, the federal government is acting in pursuance thereof to the rule of law, to our Constitution. And when they do so, subordinate states, to include municipalities, the federal law is supreme. So why are we having this discussion? What type of judge sits and says, hard-earned American taxpayer dollars should go to people that are harboring criminals? I mean, you want to talk about oxymoronic with the emphasis on the word moron? That's it. Or how about some of these other judges that we got out here? We've got Judge Hannah Dugan in Wisconsin. Now, this is a doozy. She has a criminal illegal immigrant in her court. He is there because of domestic violence, beating a woman. The victims are in the court with their, prosecutorial representation. She knows that ICE is there, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. She takes this criminal illegal immigrant and his defense attorney into her private chambers and shows them a backdoor exit. This judge just took it upon herself, Hannah Dugan, just took it upon herself to say, I don't want to see you deported. So you're free to just walk out of the court. In what world is that acceptable? I mean, it's only acceptable in the world of the progressive socialist left, where they care less about women. You want to talk about a war on women? You start releasing criminal illegal immigrants that beat women. You start going down to El Salvador, talking about we want to bring the Maryland man back home. The Maryland man who's from El Salvador, who's also involved in sex trafficking, a member of a terrorist organization called MS-13. You want to bring him back home? So what? He can human traffic more young girls? So that he can end up being just the same as Rachel Morin's killer. Remember the Chris Van Hollen, the Maryland woman, mother of 5, who was just out walking, jogging on a trail. Now she's dead. Her kids are motherless, but yet you're running down to El Salvador. And so we got this judge that let someone out of her court because she don't want to see him get deported. I thought the judge, you're supposed to uphold the law. That's what your oath is to be. And shame on you for saying to those victims who are sitting there in that courtroom, I don't care about you. I care about my ideological agenda. I care about my judicial activism. And now you've got leftists up there in Wisconsin and Milwaukee screaming and yelling about how this is wrong. So in other words, they don't have any problem with harboring criminals, with releasing criminals out into the street to terrorize American citizens as long as it fits into their ideological agenda, which is really their religion. Open borders. Criminal, illegal, immigrant, gang members, terrorist organization members. So if this guy had been a member of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, who had come into this country illegally, and who was standing there because he had beaten his wife or beaten women, with Judge Hannah Dugan also let him out. But look, this follows along with Massachusetts Judge Shelley Richmond, who did the exact same thing. And guess what? They dropped the charges on her. Massachusetts Judge Shelley Richmond did the exact same thing. Let a criminal illegal immigrant walk free because she didn't want to turn him over to ICE and see this person deported. She didn't want to cooperate with law enforcement. You got to be kidding me. And now they're saying that, she can go right back to her duties. See, we always hear about the left saying no one's above the law. Well, obviously, these judges are above the law, or they're ignorant of the law. But either way, it's wrong. And how about this New Mexico judge, Joel M. Cano? This dude actually had a Trinidad member living in his house with access to weapons. Now, that's not just stuck on stupid. That's a special kind of stupid. And yeah, he and his wife arrested. Now, he's a local magistrate judge. I don't care. He took an oath to interpret the law, to make decisions based upon the rule of law. And here he is with a criminal illegal immigrant terrorist organization member living in his place, on his property, with access to weapons. Look, I believe in the three branches of government. I believe in our Constitution. I took an oath to support and defend it. But right now, in these first 100 days of the Trump administration, and definitely in this last month, President Trump ran on the issue of, I'm deporting these criminal illegal immigrants. That's his priority. Those people with a domestic and a national security threat. Last fall, ICE came out with a number, some 600,000 criminal illegal immigrants. So, in other words, they've committed the crime coming across the border illegally, and they're committing acts of crime and violence on top of that. 600,000 estimated here in the United States of America. I'm not even talking about the 1.5 to 2 million gotaways that we don't even know who they are, where they are. I'm dealing with that we know. And we got judges that are taking these type of actions. Article 3, the judicial branch, they're going off the rails. And like I said, it's just been in its first 100 days, really just this last month. We cannot continue with this. Where were all of these people? Where were all of these judges when Joe Biden was doing what he was doing? 15 to 20,000 a day. 15 to 20,000 a day coming into the United States of America illegally. 250,000 plus in 4 years dead Americans because of fentanyl. Today, the number down the border, less than 200 a day. But yet, we believe that people that have broken our laws should have due process. We believe that places that harbor people that have broken our laws should get taxpayer funding. We believe that judges should just, I don't want to see you deported. I don't want to see you held accountable and responsible for what you did, entering my country illegally, violating our national sovereignty. So I'm going to let you go. Here's a back door. Go ahead and sneak out. I won't tell anybody. Is that what we really want in our country? I say no. What concerns me right now in the United States of America is that we don't have judges. Now, there's some good judges out there. But right now, the ones that are dominating the news cycle, these are judges that are not steadfast and loyal to the American Constitution and its rule of law.
Before they burn it down.